Hi, I'm Sarah and I blog at TamingTwins, and today I'm here for Mum Talk TV and I'm going to talk to you about a few little changes you can make to your diet and your food to make yourself a little bit healthier in the new year if that's something you fancy doing. I am not a nutritionist or a diet expert or anything like that, but because I love food, I think it gives me lots of ideas about little changes you can make. So these are things that I tend to do in January, normally because I've overindulged a little bit at Christmas and I just feel the need to have a little bit of a, I don't want to say slim down necessarily, but kind of give my body a little bit of a rest and kind of do some good things in my diet for January. So there's 6 things I'm going to talk to you about. The first one is water. Now, we all know that we should drink lots of water, but one of the tricks I try and do to remind myself to drink more water and make it more appealing is add some other flavours to it. So this is just tap water with loads of ice and a nice pint glass. And my favourite is lime, so I add slices of lime to it. Sounds like a really little thing, but somehow it makes it seem a bit more like a treat than just water out of the tap or out of a bottle. If I have lime, it also convinces me that it's kind of got a little bit of a taste of mojito about it, which obviously it hasn't, but yeah, it almost feels a bit like a treat. So cucumber's really nice as well, orange, lime, lemon, yeah, mint, if you've got any mint, not in January necessarily, but anything like that, just to add some flavour to the water, I think will encourage you to drink a little bit more of it. Number 2 is butternut squash. So we all know about recipes using butternut squash, but what I try and do if I'm being a little bit kind or having a little bit of a detox is replace potatoes sometimes with butternut squash. So it's got hardly any calories compared to potato, it's super good for you, they're really good value in Aldi. Or if you're really lazy like I am sometimes, you can buy bags of ready chopped and peeled butternut squash in the freezer section of Waitrose, and they're a really good thing just to keep on hand in the freezer. You can just throw them in the oven, spray them with oil, which I'm going to talk to you about in a second, and bake them like you would potatoes. And they taste really nice, and they're just a really good little swap to make in your diet if you're trying to be a bit healthier for the new year. So butternut squash. My 3rd tip is to spray oil. So you might not know about, you may know about this, you might not. We obviously all know that olive oil is really good for us, but if you're trying to cut back on some calories in January, what I do is I use one of these spray bottles. This is the type that was supposed to be for plants, but I've obviously not used it for any plant feed or anything. And I just keep my olive oil in it, keep it by the hob, and when I come to cook something or fry something or roast something, just spray some oil on rather than coating it. It means that you use hardly any oil, but you get a really nice coating. It's great for roast potatoes, great for making homemade chips with just sliced potatoes and a spray of oil in the oven, and great for roasting your butternut squash. So I definitely recommend investing in a spray bottle for your oil if you're trying to cut back a bit on your diet in January. My 4th tip is green smoothies. If you haven't discovered green smoothies, where have you been? They're basically a way of getting loads of fruit and veg and vitamins into you really quickly, with not a lot of faff. So here's how you make them. You put your kale or spinach or whatever other green leaves you want with some liquid, so almond milk or water, into a blender. Blend it for a minute or 2 until it's really smooth, and then you add whatever other fruits you fancy. Blend it until it's really smooth, pop it in a pint glass with some ice, and then drink it for breakfast, and it packs a great punch to start the day. My 5th tip is quinoa. Now, if you haven't discovered quinoa, you're missing out. My husband was very reluctant about this in the first place, and he thought that I was kind of plying him with brown food again and trying to make him healthy. But now he's kind of come around to it. It's an amazing grain. It's a superfood grain. It's full of protein. It's much better for you in terms of the fact that it's got lots of other nutrients and protein, rather than just having white carbs like couscous or pasta. There's a bit of an art to cooking quinoa. You can follow the instructions on the back of the packet, but the really important thing is to rinse it well before you cook it. And also, after you've cooked it, the trick I find really helpful is to put the lid back on the pan and leave it to stand for 15 minutes, and it just kind of fluffs itself up a bit. You can buy it at Tesco. It's spelt quinoa, but you pronounce it quinoa. So this is a little change that I'm going to be making in January. We're going to be having this instead of rice or couscous. It's really great for making salads for lunches and things as well. So I definitely recommend trying some quinoa. My final foodie change tip for the new year is that if you want a sweet treat, the best thing you can learn to do is make instant banana ice cream. So all you do is peel your bananas, cut them up, freeze them, and leave them in the freezer until you're ready to use them. And then when you're ready for some instant banana ice cream, pop them in your blender with a teaspoon of cocoa and blitz them for about 5 minutes until they're really smooth and the consistency of soft serve ice cream, and they're yum. So yeah, I definitely recommend the instant banana ice cream. So my top tips for your January cut down, maybe on the diet front, are to flavour your water, to try swapping potatoes for butternut squash, to try using an oil spray bottle, to drink some green smoothies, to try a swap for quinoa, and also to try instant banana ice cream. I hope my tips have been useful. My name's Sarah and my blog is TamingTwins. You can click on my face to go to and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I hope you've enjoyed watching Mum Talk TV today. Have a great January and a great 2015.